Cheers.
Good.
How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah?
Friday, just nice to just like
Yeah. So, what?
stop and rewind a little bit.
But this is Marge, this is my mum, but also this is the person who I've worked with for the last 10 years. And how have you found the last 10 years of working together?
It's been a bit of a roller coaster, isn't it?
A bit.
It's sort of like had its very exciting times, it's had its real low points, it's had its very funny times. It's literally gone through, I think we've gone through every single emotion
Possible.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, let's come and work for you, let's just do this, and then you do this and you do that. You become, I think as a parent as well, I was sort of like not doing it as a job for me and whatever, it was to support you. And so you support you, and then you're like, I'm then so emotionally invested.
Are you supporting yourself at the same time?
No, not really. I don't feel like I'm doing it. It was, well, yeah, we all know why I left, because it was working at a school that was a little bit shy.
So for anybody who's...
I was taking the pee out of big time.
But for anybody who's new to YouTube or new to seeing us on YouTube or just new to this whole thing, I set up a business from a bedroom in 2012 that was all about clothing, all about fashion. And in 2015, decided to bring my mum in, who was a teaching assistant at a school very local to yourself. And it was actually quite funny the way that it came about, because it was a decision that I probably wasn't even in that mindset of thinking about working with my mum.
No, I think when you were doing it, I used to probably come down at the weekends when you was in the small. When he was at our house, you'd get me helping you with your packing and doing things like that. And the sort of teacher kind of mode in me just wanted to always organise you, because you was like a bat out of hell and you were just so disorganised that I wanted to go, look, create a system, do this, create a system. Because you used to just do things how you'd shot them and you knew where they were.
Organised chaos, yeah.
But yeah, it was chaos. For anybody else going in there, 'cause I think it was like you went on holiday for a week and you went, oh, just do this and just do that. I couldn't find a thing. And it was like, so I decided I'd organise you. And then when you was in the unit, I'd like, oh, just come down and like do a little bit for you and tidy and organise. And I think it came from there, didn't it? It was like, well, I could do this and I could do that. And then I was getting peed off where I worked.
Yeah, I mean...
We had a long chat to like, it's your business and all whatever, and I'm not to come in and be your mum.
Well, nothing's going to...
It's hard, isn't it, to not do that?
Nothing's going to prepare you for what could be. And I think this is the thing that's probably interesting. Something that I think I have as a person due to you is I have a thought and there's that instant rush to execute it, regardless of whether that execution connects well. There's the thought, I've had it. Some call it attention deficit, others just call it your sort of eclectic nature, but
always just went with something and ran with it.
The idea was there and it's just like, get on the treadmill. What?
And then I used to come and piss on your strawberries.
Not necessarily.
Sometimes I did, because when you'd say something, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'd be like, whoa, hang on a minute. And we'd re-look at things, and then you go, well, I don't want to do it now. But then, in hindsight, you'd go, yeah, it was a daft idea, but you've got to have ideas, haven't you? But I was the sort of like always a voice of reason.
And I think one big part that's hard, that like is an uncomparable thing, is this woman that sits before us is my parent, the person that gave birth to me. But one of the hardest things about working with your mum or working with someone who's in a family is you have to figure out the difference between a relationship with your parent and a relationship as a workforce. And I'll be honest, I think that, like you said about going through all the emotions, that's been a journey of finding our feet with that compatibility. Like, that's taken years, and I'll hold my hands up to accountability, like, and I think just get to it. Again, there's not really an aim for this conversation. I think a little bit I want to talk on like what it's like.
So how did you, let's just go back to the beginning of it. How did you feel then about employing me? About having your mum come to work for you?
Well, the relationship we've always had has been like an understood like an understood jigsaw puzzle connection that nobody else needed to see it fit. Like we make sense as as a pair, but your mum and son are an unlikely pair because it's your mum, it's the parent, it's the person that reared you. You have that thing where people go, no, that's your mum. She doesn't go out for drinks with your friends. She's your mum, she doesn't do that. And I agree to all of those. To be honest with you, whenever I see people that are like, out on a night out with my mum, I think it makes me feel a bit like unwell. But I probably make people feel sick because like it's that mindset where everyone goes, I couldn't work with my mum. I think for me, you are somebody that I've probably trusted more than myself for longer than I've realised, and now in this sort of new arc of it's me and I am the one that I trust. It is me. You have been like, I don't know, you've been
just
like
an extra backbone.
Well, you've been a two-parent emotional person, which is fine to say. Not everybody has that. Not everybody has that, and it's not a bad thing to say it. I speak to a lot of people whose dads there's not that emotional connection. It's very much on academia. And I think one of the big things that someone like me has struggled to like communicate with the world is creativity can look stupid until you master the art of that creativity. Like a lot of like, I wanted to make videos on YouTube being an idiot before people knew what it was, getting a shark tattooed, like things that are very small and obscure, but like there's certain things that connect to go to why to then just doing it.
Yeah, when you think of like when you were 14 and you were doing it, and you were sort of like, when you think of the early infancy of YouTube.
This is 14 going on YouTube.
Yeah, for age 14 years.
Yeah.
And you're doing all of that, and was like thinking it was a great hobby. You used to spend hours doing it and stuff. But I remember your dad always like you thinking that's what you wanted to do. Dad was like, yeah, but you can't actually do that for a job.
Yeah.
And now, fast forward 15 years, and actually, yeah, you can, 17 years, you actually can do that as a job. That can be a job now. 17 years ago, it wasn't a job. It was for some, but it does make you think, God, we should have kept
But no, but I think the thing is, the biggest thing for me, and it's like, I don't know about you, but like, I guess, I mean, I don't want to speak on behalf of you, but a lot of life is about like fulfilling a dream that you've got inside. Your dream has said once you wanted to work at a sock factory.
No.
What Marge's dream was what?
My first dream...
Are you eating my crisps?
No, they're yours. My first dream, which was shattered when I was younger, I wanted to be Ken Dodd. And
who's Ken Dodd? What did he do?
He was a comedian and he had all funny hair and he went like going, no, and he was just silly, and I used to do all impersonation. And I thought that when I grew older, I could be Ken Dodd. And then someone said, you can't be somebody else. So then, at about the age of 8, I wanted to work in a shoe shop.
Oh, a shoe shop.
At 16, I worked in a shoe shop. It was like, oh, that's it, my ambitions have been fulfilled.
Wow.
But no, it's not, I wouldn't say it's that I have had lack of ambition, as some people would probably say, oh, you've got no ambition.
It's
not that I've not got ambition, it's just that more like, I didn't quite know what it was that was calling me. And it was like, I think it was just, I just enjoyed life. I've always enjoyed life. I've enjoyed getting up every morning. I've enjoyed sort of going to work, whatever I've done. I just think, so I think for me, it's like, I think my thing was never really what job I did. It was the people I worked with. I'm a people person. And so I liked working with people, and if I liked the people, then I could get on with the
And
job.
you know what? That's a really nice, like, almost connection to this point. Like, I don't want to make this about what's it like doing business. I think that it's just interesting. But one thing that I have come to be much more aware of doing working for yourself is how lonely that can feel when you are so like deep into it. Like, I mean, and like you said, like it was about who you worked with. I know a lot of people, like, they do jobs that are 9 to 5. Maybe just most people would look down at them, or they wouldn't look at them in the right light. But like, they get more value from the people that they meet. Now, when you flip that, for someone like me, I have some underlying purpose to what I want to achieve. I believe there's something that the universe is pulling me to, and I will just keep being pulled by that because that's where I want to go. But like, a big part of that also sits, which people don't see, is like, my content is predicated on interacting with people who I would have had no interaction with. And
Yes.
for somebody like, you don't just go into a coffee shop and say, well, you could quite easily and go, hi, do you want a conversation? And people will go, what do you want to talk about? And then you'll be like, I don't know, just it doesn't really place. When you work work for yourself, you're not looking at life like that.
I remember when we used to go to London, and people used to go to London quite a bit when we were younger. It was, Jeannie, you can't just strike up a conversation with everybody on the tube. And why not?
Yeah.
A lot of people go, because people in London aren't like that. I'm like, of course they are, they're just people, they just don't know that they're not like that. And I would talk to, I would and I do talk to them, and I think that's where you got it from. But it is funny how it's the whole, like when we look at the business side of things, because most people would look at, and I've always looked at you and thought, oh, look, Spencer's doing so well, look, he's got a business. And it's great, it's giving you freedom, because like, for any of those that didn't know, that Spence went and did his works experience in a farm just up the road from here, funnily enough. It was great. You had a great works experience helping deliver calves, and just you actually enjoyed it. And they offered him a job on Saturdays, and he used to go from 9 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, absolutely knackered, for 20 quid. And that was, I think that was your biggest, they say works experience, that was your best experience you could have possibly ever had. Because you came back and you was going, I am never ever going to work for anybody again. I'm going to work for myself. I'm not doing all of that work and then getting 20 quid when you knew how much everybody else the farmer was getting. And that set something up, didn't it? When you started selling your clothes and stuff, and people were laughing at you, going, you'll never sell that. You had that 5 items that you bought with your pocket money, and you.
It's like a little bit like quite a deep message of life there, isn't it? Really, it's like a lot of the time, like. You're not going to pursue the things that you think. You're too busy fixated most of the time thinking about what other people think. We live in this state, don't we, where like getting the job is like thinking about what other people think, like doing things again, like making videos at 32 looks silly, but you look mad until you look like a genius. And I love that sort of, that very seesaw effect where you can look like something, but also like, I think one of the biggest lessons I've probably learned from you as a parent is, don't think I care what anybody thinks of me anyway, and I've never been brought up to be concerned with what people think. I've never been brought up on you have to be this standard for this.
No.
Maybe in terms of university, maybe in terms of there's a set standard, but I genuinely think that in life the rules of the game have changed, and it's,
I do.
It's like
100%
they've completely changed, and it's not just to be like.
I think more people are getting that program, aren't they?
Yeah.
But there's still all those people that have got both feet firmly on the treadmill, and they just think, work, go out to the pub, work, go to the pub, so that, go, work, go get married, work,
yeah.
work, let's have kids, work, dead.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of people that, but and it's no fault of anybody's. If you want to do that, that's very good, it's great. But it is that, like, this, I don't want to be sounding controversial here or anything, but like when you talk about religion, I'm not going to be talking about religion.
Incoming a controversial opinion.
No, it's not really, but you know
we don't reflect the same views, by the way.
No, but you know how people will just go, yes, I believe in that, I believe in God, I believe in that, I think that's great. But they're not questioning it, they're just believing it blindly because somebody told them when they were very young about this story of somebody called Jesus and somebody called God. And most people don't go to church, but they believe in God, but they believe it unconditionally and without question. And that's great, because I think faith's a great thing if you've got it. But it is that sort of like, question everything. I think I grew up in the era of like, when I grew up, people go on about the 80s, and they love the 80s, and they think about the music. A lot of people think of the Wham side, but I'm of the 80s side, of the punky side, of the question everything, believe nothing, question everything.
Yeah.
And so I've grown up being sort of like an anarchist and all of that kind of feeling in my head. The back of my head, it's still all there. It doesn't change. Sort of like I always want to be a rebel, but I'm a conformist. I'm a rebel that conforms.
A rebel that conforms.
My unconventional conventionalists.
This whole topic's interesting. I think like sitting down talking and just letting words sort of hit. I can only speak on how I feel about things, but you know, I'll ask you as well. Business overall, we only know the UK business that we do. I don't want to get too boring and cynical into this, because business is hopeful, business is being your own boss, but business is tough in the UK.
It's very tough.
It's tough, and I
Because
think there's. But hang on, sorry to what's. But I think I want to just sort of break down this element of, I guess, the whole classic thing of expectations versus reality. I don't know if what we show half the time makes it look like business is easy. I don't know if we make things just look easy because we put on a brave face, whatever that.
Like people say to you, oh, you got it made, you haven't you? Got your own business. Look at all them clothes you're in that big premises. You must be made.
I have no idea how tough it is.
No.
Don't even understand
the
half of that.
When you actually look at the balance sheet and you go, okay, so we didn't make any money this month, so we didn't get paid.
Yeah.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Well, one thing I can We're not in posh cars and big houses, are we?
No, but that's a bit of a veered point away from it. Like, the reality is in business is like, and this is all, by the way, everything has to be remembered that they're all choices you make. So these are all choices that were made. Before anybody says anything, I take full accountability for the situation I'm in is based on the decisions that I've made. But choosing not to be paid by a certain like production, like so say for like business, like, you know, you have to make sacrifices sometimes. I haven't, and I know you've only been paid limited, like the last year of what we've done in order to make things work. And like, you have to do something for quite a long bit of time before you can understand that it either works or doesn't. You don't do something for a week and go, this doesn't work like this doesn't work like that. This has been, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say this, like, we went down to the bottom and we've almost nosedived and saved the ride up, and it's been beautiful to save it. And I can't thank, you know, being a part of Tilt and live streaming. Like, again, live streaming is a big part of what has been the sort of rebirth of what we are. But for me, this is what the real rebirth is. I guess, you know, the thing is, right, for me,
it is that whole freedom, like we were saying about people in business. So you could be in the business and you could be making stacks and stacks of money and doing nothing, but it's which you were at one point, but it's what do you sacrifice? You can make a lot of money, but what do you sacrifice? Yeah,
do you sacrifice yourself? You sacrifice your time?
You see other people and you think, they look 10, 15 years older than they are.
Yeah, well look,
they look knackered.
The reality I sit in, right?
They have no.
I hate this sort of like, because I don't like the victim mentality, and I don't try and have that shadow cast or that brush shadowed. But it's like, people go, how do I be successful at business, right? Right, you know, your Friday night, you wanted to go out with your mates, go home, upload products, go home, take photos, repeat cycle for your life. Try and, you know, don't get me wrong, I haven't had a guarded life of not going out. I've done my fair share of going out. I've done my fair share of things that I don't really need to like go in on. And I mean, not right now. And this woman also has the same. And I think you'd want to know more about her past than my past, if I'm honest, because she's more of a dark horse. I don't think she's a dark horse. I think she's very much, as you can expect, is what you expect. But like, sacrifice, right? And like, looking at that sacrifice, like, and no, but that self-sacrifice is that, I guess for you, coming to work for Gully and things, there's not really a sacrifice because you're trusting the process of your legacy. You've just given birth, like this. I am your thing. I am one of, like, I have a brother as well. I am one and two of your things, right? You're not a possession, you don't own me, you're just a human being. But like, you were responsible for this.
Gave life to you.
You gave life. You was responsible for the creation, and you can't ever thank the people that bring you into life. And
I also think my feeling of being a parent is, I've heard some people go, oh, they're 18 now. That's it, job done. You don't ever stop being a parent. That responsibility never leaves you. It can leave you if you want it to. You can make that choice, but that wasn't my choice. It was like, once I'd gone down that road, I'm a bit like the dog with the bone, and once I decide I'm doing something, that's it. And it'll have me
like, what's
100% loyalty, you're like, always.
I think I think we must be a real interesting point to a lot of people, you know. And I mean interesting not because what we do is interesting, but because it's interesting how we do what we do. Like, we are a mum and son that seem like mates that have...
Yeah, some people don't understand the dynamics, do they? Because they go, that's your mum, and they're always somehow like a bit sort of surprised that you've got that kind of relationship with your mum.
Yeah.
But I think that's the child in me. It would be like, we'd be the ones that were being told off at the dinner table for stopping laughing.
Yeah, I think my brother is probably way more mature than you've ever been.
I remember we was going away for a weekend, and Archie's 3 years younger than Spencer. And they weren't very old, and we were like giving Archie the instructions of what to do to look after you. Because you were just the irresponsible side, it was that.
Yeah. How do you think, like, from Archie to Dad, how do you think that, like, they've, like, processed the dynamic and, like, learned to accept this way of working?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that sometimes. Does it affect them? Does it have an effect on them?
But, like, how does it affect them? Because that's quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, we try not to do the talk about work if we can, but sometimes we can't help it.
But again, I think and it's really hard to sort of condense so much in so little time, but like this relationship that we've had, I would say, from what it had been to what it has become, is like, has blossomed into, like, and I mean this with respect, there'd be points where so deep in the sort of messaging every day, checking on things, to sort of that point now in the last, like, I would say 7 to 8 months, maybe a little bit longer, of that kind of like accepting that we're individuals outside of what we do, accepting that we aren't in each other's pocket, and that we are our own people. And I think that's
I think because we're changing our hours of work, because what we used to do as well is would be in for 8:30.
Yeah, tell everyone how we used to work. So before the bundles and when we did Gully, how, like, what was our week?
It was a big team of us, and we'd start work at 8:30 in the morning. A majority of us worked full time.
Yeah.
5 days a week, and would work on till 5:30 at night. I used to have Thursday. I've always had Thursdays off, but I used to come in on Saturday with all the Saturday kids. So I've never had in years 2 days off together, have I? So that was that whole weekend where people get the weekend. I think I'm knackered. But yeah, it was, when you think of that, and it would be like, it was proper organised in, which we don't do this at all in what, where it'd be like, right, 10:30, tea break.
Yeah.
You'll stop and have a tea break. And then it
was ran like a 9 to 5.
It was proper business. Yeah,
but like,
it still is a proper business, but it was like lunch breaks, and like, you've got this.
But the difference is now is it's not a 9 to 5 anymore, because the way that you work is almost treated similar to like someone self-employed. And in the same way, like, we've come to this point now where, and I mean this with respect, and like, there might be certain parts of this video that have a bit of like some harsh truths, and I'm going to talk about live streaming as well, just because it's something that I need to talk about. But like, we've gone through from having like a system that was like a 9 to 5. I wasn't treating like a 9 to 5. I was going home doing more work, coming back doing the same. My life has been a 10-year exhausted,
very, very organised,
exhausted force at this, and I've like been in a position that I've been very fortunate from the fortunate and luck, and words that I choose very carefully, because I don't think this is fortunate. I think this is the way that it was meant to be. We had something that was built, and it fell due to how it was built. The foundations weren't strong enough. The systems and the politics that happened afterwards weren't helpable. But what was controlled was like how we reacted.
Yeah.
You know, and then
there was all the other outside influences that can't help but influence a business.
Of course not.
Not sort of like the political, but the
you
friendships
imagine,
and all sorts.
You imagine deciding to make a business, and then all of a sudden going, I'm going to employ 5 of my mates. In fact, I'm going to employ 10 of them. In fact, I'm going to employ 5 of my mates, and I'm going to let my mum employ 5 of her mates, and we're going to see how this whisks together. Let's see if we can make a cake together. And I'll be honest with you, I would be lying if I said that the years of working with people weren't some of the best working years with people. Even if the people that I worked with I was no longer friends with, and I'll be honest with you, like, being in that position that I was, it's been one of the things that physical health, mindful health, emotional stability and financial security have helped me work towards acceptance, because that's what it is. Acceptance that something isn't what it was now, because now it's a load of middle-aged women and loads of 16-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And I sort
17.
of, or 17, sorry. But and then I sit in this sort of pool of,
But you see, the other thing there is when it was, like it was a really young team and it was very dynamic and it was lots of fun. Yeah, all the young people all wanted some kind of managerial role. Those roles weren't there, they were more warehouse roles, weren't they?
Yeah.
It was a business. But then the adult in me used to sort of like nitpicky a bit in the fact of like, you're being paid from 8:30 till 5:30. They roll up at 25 to 9, then they stop and make a drink, and then they go and stand outside and talk and have a cigarette. So by the time they've actually sat and turned the computer on, it's 9 o'clock. That's half an hour. That's 4 people of half an hour. To me, that was 2 hours work. Then they do, just 10 minutes over at tea break, and then 15 minutes over at lunch break, and then be 10 past 5, packing up, ready to go home. So every day I was like looking, thinking, that's a whole day's work. That's a whole that we've lost today. But because people are your friends, it's very hard to say, come on then, back to work, come on.
And I think,
Stop talking. But it's like, it's really hard. But I remember like feeling, you used to feel uncomfortable with that because you knew that you almost feel that because they're your mates, you feel like they're taking the piss. But they're not.
No.
They were just doing what they do. It's just because it was a comfortable environment, and it was.
You've got to
allowed.
You've got to trust people to be people. And when I heard this recently, I didn't understand it, didn't connect it first. But trusting people to be people is accepting that you aren't somebody else, right? I'm not my friends, and one of the a very difficult challenge was being good friends with somebody that I worked with, and I think sadly what I realised on reflection is I tried to not sit in this pool of I was just essentially used by friends until I wasn't, because that is the victim mentality. The reality is the accountability in me goes, I made bad choices from a business standpoint, but I enjoyed the process of what I lived in. That's the important thing, and I guess that's what it comes down to now. So for those of you that don't know, 2 metrics that we work on, minus me just doing content, is live stream auction selling, so live stream like a shopping, and also wholesale. Now what we've came from is retail, and retail has been from individually uploading products and selling them in that capacity. Now we've got 2 different metrics where we've offered a live stream wholesale exclusive experience and a premium wholesale experience. Like, we've shifted the way that the business works, and it's required a different approach. It's required cameras, and it's required a different thing. But my whole thing after making a brand that was forced on, everything was always you see this drink, buy this drink is new, buy this drink, it's new, to now it's we're having a chat, but I'm selling you the drink. And the soft sell to me is so key. And the reason why I mentioned the live stream and the wholesale as 2 things that we've done massively is a decision's been made almost now, today, as of recording it, that
big decision.
Yeah, that I will discontinue.
No, I made the decision yesterday.
Yeah, that I will discontinue selling live stream, so individual items. And I'll be honest with you in saying that one of the big reasons of that, and one of the big reasons isn't a financial grip of, I don't want this thing that makes, again, business, UK business is very tough. You work very hard to make very little, and you make a lot of other people richer in the process. So be careful how you go. If you're going to be VAT registered, be careful how you go. You sell lots of small individual products and you're sending a lot to Royal Mail, be careful how you go. You're making Royal Mail and HMRC very, very wealthy. That's absolutely fine if you're making yourself rich. But the reality for me, what I found is, not only was I having to work hard on the sort of pushed sell, but I've got a lot of members of staff working their arse off to build bundles for little gain, and they're making little gain. But also, not only that, there's more pressure on myself, there's more pressure on Marge, there's more pressure on this whole ecosystem that we've worked, I would say, so hard to preserve. I feel like one of the eggs in Jurassic Park. I feel like it's been in an incubator and we've almost gone, don't let it crack. And where I feel we're at right now,
hello, Jack.
where we are right now, hello, is, don't know whose dog this is. Are you okay? I feel like where we are right now is the removing live streams was stopping the crack. Removing live streams was going right. You know, luckily, like I think I can speak for both of us. I think we're at a level of emotional intelligence where this won't break our relationship now, because we understand there's more to life than money. There's more to life than business.
Well, I think as well it was like getting that. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm in ill health. I'm not ill health, but it's no.
You're a 60-year-old woman.
I'm 61, and it's 61. Like mobility. I have mobility issues. I've got osteoarthritis. That doesn't go away. You have that, and it's like, so anything, the work you're doing, it's sort of like, no, I need to sit down. It's sort of like, so it gets to, before was like, say, working till 5:30. We have changed that. It's like, right now, 1:30, 2 o'clock, I'm out of here. So, and then I go, but I do go home and tend to just sit literally with my feet up for 2 or 3 hours, because I'm knackered. And it's not that I don't think like mentally knackered, or my body doesn't feel physically knackered, but I know if I carry on, my knees will just go and and that will be it. I won't be able to walk. So it is that it takes more pressure on you than just like for you, like mentally, physically.
Yeah.
It's like mentally draining, exhausting sometimes. And like sometimes the conversations we have, and we know we're going over the same conversation. We know we're having the same conversation, but sometimes we can't find the solution, can we? We just go at it and we go, right, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. And it always boils back to the same thing, and you're like picking at it. But so to do this, it's like, I think we did a bit more of an analysis. I mean, you should be doing your profit and loss kind of things. But you're looking at it, I mean, you'll see people on the internet that do live stream, and they'll go, I've made £1,200 on this live stream tonight. So people are like, oh, wow, you made 1,200 quid today.
Just looking at the end result.
And they're just looking at that, and then they're not looking at, okay, well, 300 of that is going on your postage, 400 of that was your actual stock. Oh, you've got to house it in all of here.
Yeah.
So probably after all of that and hard work, you may have made 100 quid.
Yeah.
And you've done it for 5 hours.
Yeah.
So then you've got £20 an hour.
And you've got to start looking at whether, like, your time is worth that amount,
yes,
or whether there's other ways to do it. And I think one of the things that's being very transparent, one of the things that's like very interesting, what we've noticed is through the soft sell, wholesale is passive, i.e. yes, it requires it being built, but you can control what you do. We can at any moment in time, if you felt like you wasn't in best health, or you felt like there was a situation with work, or we had a conversation, we can make that adjustment.
For a week.
Yeah, but like the same thing with live streaming. I'll be honest with you. Do I think that this will be the end of live streaming for me? I haven't got a clue. But, if you want to know how powerful, if you want to know how much something means to you, stop doing it for a month and see if you really want to do it after that month. Like, see if that gravitates
see how much,
back.
if you miss it, see if you actually miss it.
One of the things that, for me, like being totally transparent, live streaming really helped me feel a state of confidence that I already had built into me, really. But a different level of confidence. And I'll be honest with you guys, I was in a relationship before where I didn't want to go out, I didn't want to do anything, I didn't want to be any part of society because I was so overly fixated and overthought in my head that it got me down. And I think what was interesting is like going on the camera is like, and going on camera in public is the opposite of what somebody who seems so anxious would do. But that was what it took to break through. Guys, it's not easy to go out into a field of people you don't know. I mean, there's people sat behind us right now as we're filming this, but it's at that point where you realise, and again, come back to the sort of upbringing that's probably was deeper connected through meditation, if I'm being honest, to connect back to that DNA state, which is, who cares? That you have, which is, who cares? Life is too short, who cares? And I guess...
And that's the funny thing is, people are too bothered about themselves to be actually bothered about you.
They're always bothered about themselves.
The same as we're bothered about ourselves, but I'm not. There's not sort of like a guy over there that's probably came out thinking, oh, shit, the trousers are a bit tight. I'm not looking at them. He's not looking at them. I bet nobody else in the pub is looking at him. And I'm sure there isn't a man in here that's got trousers too tight.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean? You go out sometimes just with something that you wear and you go, oh God, my hair looks a right mess today. As if like everybody in the street is going to turn around and go, oh my God, look at her hair. They're not. They don't care.
No.
They don't care.
No.
They don't care about anything about you. The only people that care are your friends, and if they care about what your hair looks like.
I don't know.
They're not your friends.
I'll be honest with you. I would say honestly, I don't even think your friends care.
No, but that's what I mean. They don't. They're the only ones that you'd be bothered about that cared.
Yeah, I don't. Okay,
friends,
I'm going to normalise this, right? Change the way you look at your friends and call them connections, okay? And I know this for you. You're somebody that's, and I'll be honest with you. Look, I don't mind this at all. Marge is so much more well connected. You have a lot more friends. Your friendship circle means a lot more to you, and I respect it. But outside of that, I don't need the validation of anybody else to know. And I'm not saying that you need the validation at all. But for me, I don't have friends, I have connections, and the level of connection I have is relative to the level of conversation I can have. If I'm having a surface chat and you're telling me how your day was, we're not friends, because that's not giving any value to this. Life is short, and I know that it doesn't need to be reminded, but I love to have a conversation where I feel like we're learning, we're getting value. Like, at least if I learn something about you, we're learning. At least if you learn something about me, we're learning.
But if they are your genuine friends, just move the table over that way.
I think,
in the shadow. If they are, what's it?
But
if they are your proper friends,
I think,
like my friends, I am. Am I concerned if they're having a good day? Yeah, I'm concerned if they're having a bad day.
No, you're not.
I am.
No, why?
I feel if one of my friends is sad or whatever, then it's like they say, as a parent, you're only as happy as your unhappiest child. And I don't think that quite extends to friendship. But if your friend's going through something, then I think I am, because I'm very connected to my friends. The friends that I've got are ones that I've had since I was little.
Your friends, I would say, are deeper woven into the fabric of who you are as a person than you realise. Because
but that's only I suppose only a handful really.
But
of
you
really
have to look
close
at your friends. And I can't really speak on behalf of your situation. Your friends may have been a support network for you when you needed them as friends more than you thought you did. For me, you've been my support network for when I thought I needed friends. So I know that's different levels of health, isn't it, really? But
my friends were just people I used to go out and get drunk with.
Yeah, and my friends are people that I used to do that with, and then I grew up from that. I don't know you.
I didn't.
No, that's growing up is a different thing. Look, all I say is this is a little bit into Marge and Spencer's or whatever this is. If you like this, if you think this conversation was interesting, let me know down below. Or if you'd
like us to go into something deeper.
Like, if you want to, look, we've hit the surface. I think what we've done here is we've gone, here's a little CV of some of the conversations we could talk about if you want. Look, you want to know more about what Marge was like before, and you want to see some photos of that can be arranged. You want to know, what really scares me about life or whatever, I don't know, whatever it is, you let me know. I think genuinely.
Or even more like the business of.
I think it's more about the business. I think because there's so much value in what we've learned that people wouldn't even realise. People realise we're like a tap to turn on, where people are like, tell me, some people might have been doing this for 6 months, and I get messages every day. Someone stumbles across and they go, I've started reselling because of you, and now I go, what made them start, and what do they want to know more of that I can help? Because if I help them, they're going to keep watching and keep enjoying. That's where we're at. So, you know what? You let us know. This has been nice. Cheers to you and your empty glass. Sun's out. No complaints.
Sun's out.
Nobody says that, by the way.
I just did.
Yeah. So right, stay safe, stay sustainable, keep doing you, and see all you beautiful people in a few. Let me know if you want another one of these, because I think it'd be nice.
Nice. Yeah, we could just have a Friday catch up.
Yeah.
Especially all through the summer. If we've got nice weather, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. And hopefully I'll be coming back with an absolute tan, making Marge jealous, and then she goes, okay, I'm going to come to one with you now.
Yeah. We all don't know. Our goal since you were little and I was probably little too. No, since younger. It's one day. Yes, so is there anybody out there that would like to gift us a safari?
You don't have to gift. We live in abundance. If you know somebody that knows somebody that's got a few lions and tigers that we can go and see.
No, we want to go on a proper safari.
You're telling me you don't want to go down some demolition derby in Scotland?
No, where what's it one? The Banksy one that they did. Hey, have you heard the Universal Studio is opening a Disney Universal Studio in Bedford, and it's the biggest one in Europe.
When? That's the sort of stuff I want. See, I want to go and make content. Just go this is the thing, man.
You should have done the Banksy when Banksy did his own theme park. Remember with the drowning.
But okay, before we go, because this is actually going to go. We are going to go now. I think this is something that I need to learn about myself. I don't know why I like making videos, and I think it's to do with my eyes. because it has.
Okay.
It has, but like the thought of you just saying that, like, or like even the other day I said to you like, I want to go to IKEA and just make a video. I honestly, that excites me more than like someone said, right, you can go and make 10 grand today if you want. If someone
Somebody said, do you want to come and look at my clothes?
if you've got to this point, what is a question you would like as a topic?
If you've got to this point.
Well, this could be 25 minutes deep into it and people might have gone, bloody hell, they're still talking.
Still talking. Skip.
No, right. Stay safe, stay safe, and keep doing you. We'll see all you beautiful people in a few. And really hope that both the cameras are still recording.